Hello, everyone. You're listening to Cinema Cafe. I'm your host, Kennedy. And this is a podcast where we talk about cinema from different countries. But I'm open to talking about things that are popular. But most of the stuff I tend to watch and tend to review are things that are usually has an international flavor, art house, smart, complex, something that is not typically seen with commercial films that people may be familiar with. I'm more for the cinematic part of it, good fashion storytelling, acting, and cinematography. Music is also a major plus as well. Yes, you can see that with popular films, but there is something about cinema that I just love a great story that you can seek and get that you can obtain from another country that you're not originally from, and just learn about cinema and see how their approach is, because everything's different in different parts of the world. The culture is different, the language is different, and yes, it's not for everyone who cannot watch and read at the same time, because you do have to read subtitles if you are not familiar with the language. But that's the beauty of these international films, cinema. It's just amazing, and that's what I talk about in this podcast. And for today, I'm going to talk about a film from 2009 titled Un Prophete, or I guess you could say a prophet in French. And this film is not dedicated, but directed by Jacques Audiard. Screenplay is by Thomas Bidegain and Jacques Audiard. And the original screenplay is by Abdel, Raouf, Dafri, and Nicolas Peufaillit. So the music is by Alexander Desplat, cinematography by Stephanie Fontaine, and edited by Juliette Welfling. And the film stars Tahar Rahim as Malik El Debenia. Um, you also have Niels Aristrup as Cesar Luciani, Adel Bin Sharif as Riyadh, Hicham Yacobi as Rayab, and many more. So, if there is one thing I have to say that I appreciate about Jacques Audiard's work, is you're in for a cinematic treat. I enjoyed his older films such as Venus Beauty Institute, Read My Lips, The Beat That My Heart Skipped, and in 2009, Audiard returned with Un Prophete, a prophet, which is based on the original screenplay by Abdel Raouf Dafri and Nicolas Peufaillit. The film was rewritten by Audiard and Thomas Bidegain. The film would receive critical praise and would go on to receive an Academy Award nomination in 2009. It's a winner of the 2009 Cannes Film Festival Grand Prix, which is fantastic and an amazing feat. It won Best Picture of the Year at the London Film Festival and would join two films in the history of the Caesar Awards by being nominated for 13 awards. And it became the third film in French cinema history to win 9 or more Caesar Awards. The last two films to accomplish that was the 1980 film The Last Metro and the 1990 film Cyrano de Bergerac. I'm going to have a problem saying this one. I have said it many times before. Cyrano de Bergerac. And now the film will be released in the U.S. on Blu-ray. Well, it was released on Blu-ray and DVD a while back, but it has been re-released by different companies. But if you are looking for it, if you are outside of Europe, uh, like the United States, you definitely want to pick up the Sony Pictures Classics version if you can find that one. So, oh, by the way, it's also available on streaming. So, Fandango at home, Amazon Prime, um, usually places where you can purchase digital films. you could definitely find this one. And again, the film was released um, in the United States by Sony Pictures Classics, and Sony Pictures Classics is a company that is how would I say this? Um, it's it was founded in January 1992, and the goal was to distribute, produce and acquire independent films for the United States and around the world. You know, working with Kurosawa Kira, Woody Allen, Pedro Almodovar, Robert Altman, Allison Anders, Charlie Kaufman, Ang Lee, Richard Linklater, Louis Small, David Mamet, and that's just saying a few. There's just so much out there. But yeah, they released a lot of foreign films in America on Blu-ray. They may not have the extensive booklets or special features, nor do they do a lot of um, upgrading or cleaning up of the film, the original negative of the film. You know, Criterion usually does that. Sony Pictures Classics does it, but they do bring a lot of international films that Criterion or Kino Lorber and other companies do not bring out. So that's something to keep notice on. Again, the company is called Sony Pictures Classics. But as for the film, um, it's a very interesting concept because the film deals with a character named Malik, played by Tahar Rahim, an illiterate young Arab man who has been living off the streets and has been sentenced to 6 years for a crime. While at the prison, Malik tends to keep to himself and tries to stay away from everyone. But he soon learns that being in prison, the prison life is nothing safe, and he is beaten and his shoes were stolen. And while taking a shower, a man named Raeb offers to get him some hash if Malik gives him a BJ. Malik is sickened by the proposition and refuses. Meanwhile, at the prison, we learn how the Corsican mafia may have a major presence and are the men in charge of that, of calling the shots in the prison. The Corsican mafia is led by a high-tempered man named Cesar Luciani, who is played by Niels Arstrup. And with the power that Luciani has in the outside world and in the prison system, he rules it with an iron fist, and also has a crooked warden working alongside with him. The prison is segregated as the Corsican mafia watches over the prison while the growing number of Arab prisoners start to catch their attention. Of course, the Corsican mafia may have a problem with Arabs and wants to make a point to them of who's the boss in that prison. Luciani receives word from the outside that they need to kill the Arab man Raeb. This is the same man who offered Malik hash earlier. But the problem is they can't get to him because their cell is far from them, and that he is well protected by the fellow Arabs around him. But there is one man who can get close, and that is Malik. So Malik is sent by the Corsican, given the directive by the Corsican mafia that he must kill Raeb and do what they say, or he will get no protection in prison. If he refuses, he'll probably get killed. So Malik doesn't want to kill anyone, but he's not that kind of man. But when he tries to contact the warden, he is nearly choked to death by the mafia, and they remind him that they rule the prison. His choice is to kill Raeb or die in prison. So he doesn't have much of a choice. Malik knows that he must play by the rules and do everything that Luciani tells him in order to survive in prison. Meanwhile, despite being illiterate, Malik uses his time in prison to learn how to read, observe how the pro-convicts are wheeling and dealing in prison, but also managing to get deals done outside in the real world and unknown to the Corsican mafia, learning how to understand and even speak their language. So what kind of man will Malik evolve to? That's going to be the interesting question. This film, again, was released by Sony Pictures Classics. Looks great on Blu-ray. A good fine layer of grain throughout the film. Blacks are nice and deep. No signs of artifacts, edge enhancements, or any negative anomalies. A Prophet is presented in French and German 5.1 DTS HD MA, although the film is primarily dialogue driven, and thus sound coming from the front and center channels. You do hear the prison ambiance throughout the surrounds, surround channel usage. So, the original Blu-ray came with a audio commentary with director Jacques Audiard, actor Tahar Rahim, and co-writer Thomas Bidegain, and it comes with deleted scenes, 4 deleted scenes, and you get to see some of the cast rehearsing, and there are also screen tests as well, plus a trailer. A Prophet is a film that's just fantastic, and I have to say it's definitely well written. I think even till now, 2025, it still stands the test of time. It's that good of a film. It's well directed. More than anything, both Tahar Rahim and Niels Airstrup do a wonderful job playing their role. So it's perfectly timed interaction in the film while being at 155 minutes. It's well written and helps develop the characters, especially Malik's journey as a quiet prisoner to seeing him evolve into this new kind of person. Needless to say, A Prophet is a survival film. Malik does all he can to survive within the next years, and that is by remaining close to the Corsican mafia, who treat him like a dog because he's Arabic, while trying to keep his reputation cool among the Arabs. If anything, we first learn hand of how difficult it is for Malik to obey Luciani in order to survive the corrupted prison system, but also making sure to maintain communication with other people in the prison, and that would lead to the success of his business. And he's been helping those who have helped him. Uh, with that being said, the film does have its share of violent moments, and for the faint-hearted, especially those who do not like to see blood, the film does have a very bloody scene. Um, I'm not going to go into that, but you got to watch the film. But the scenes, what's going on with the character Malik, you could say that the scenes are necessary to show how a man can change in prison and how it has a psychological toll on Malik and his family. And he starts to talk with the dead, and it's just something that some people may wonder: does this guy have a mental health problem? Anyway, Malik has this ghost of Rahim that tends to get into his consciousness, and possibly to remind him of his innocence that was stripped away by the Corsican mafia. We see how this man goes from a silent loner to evolving to something much different at the end of the film. By the end of the film, there have been a good number of well-created prison films for the last decades, like Grand Illusion, Shawshank Redemption, Litro, Stalag 17, and with most dealing with prison escapees to police or order something, disguising themselves as prisoners, trying to obtain from a criminal. And while survival in prison has been featured in variety of films, A Prophet is probably the best film in the way the writer and director has attempted and really hit it out of the ballpark. It's just really that good. Title of the film has nothing to do with Malik having has nothing to do with Malik or the prisoners. It's more of having your dreams come true and just managing to recall certain things as usually not natural. Levitt did make a point when he said that Malik may have planned or may wing it, but too many things fly too fast and furiously. I guess it depends on the individual, but he does have a point. I know director and writer Jacques Audiard and the co-writer Thomas Bidegain, again through his actions of showing how powerful the Corsican mafia boss is. We see this man having access to with Cesar Luciani. This man has best sell television, food, clothing, and even has hidden access to his smartphone or cell phone. We know that the warden has been aiding Luciani, and of course, whenever someone's on the outside is meeting with him, he's literally conducting business and uses Malik as his weakness and fear in doing these jobs. Um, yeah, it's a dangerous job that we see Malik get himself involved with, but yeah, it's just a very fascinating concept. As as you can imagine with this type of film, a lot of things do happen in the second half of the film, and I could see where, um, Donald Levitt is coming from his own assessment of the scenarios. He also comments on the many players in the film, and yes, there are many players in the prison system that Malik has to interact with, but and all that matters is Malik's business relationship with Luciani, and his business relationship and friendship with Riyadh. But mostly, the most important of anything of this is that he, um, what's the word for it? Anyway, just had a brain fart right there, but um, yeah, this Blu-ray you can definitely find it actually on Amazon, courtesy of Sony Pictures USA, but other companies have released it as well. You can find a digital version on iTunes and also Amazon Music, Amazon Prime, and Fandango at home. Probably the easiest way to get it right there, right? You might. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or anything like that, but um, I do know that this film does look great on Blu-ray in HD, and it's a magnificent film. I hope it will encourage many cinema fans who are not familiar with Jacques Audiard's films and to go and search his previous films. A Prophet is definitely compelling cinema and thought-provoking and raw yet violent. It's definitely well crafted in that manner of it's almost like a Godfather-like film, right? So definitely enjoyed that one. And I guess that is about it, everyone. You all take care, and I will see you later. Wink, wink, and uh see you later, everyone. Bye bye.